Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Compuage Infocom Limited Q2 FY22 earnings conference call. This conference call may contain forward-looking statements about the company, which are based on the beliefs, opinions, and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not the guarantees of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star and 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Atul Mehta, Chairman and Managing Director, Compuage Infocom Limited, for his opening remarks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on Compuage Infocom Limited's Q2 FY22 earnings conference call. I hope you and everyone around you are safe and in good health. Along with me today, we also have SGA, our investor relations advisors. We have uploaded our press release and results presentation on the stock exchanges, and I hope everybody had a chance to go through the same. Let me first start with business highlights. Q2 FY22 witnessed all-round recovery as lockdown restrictions were eased as compared to the previous quarter. The recovery was on the back of demand from reopening of offices, while demand from work-from-home products also continued. Recovery was across all our product categories, which includes IT consumer, cloud, and hardware services. IT enterprise, which has been slow during the pandemic, is now expected to grow rapidly. With economy now normalizing, we expect the positive demand momentum to continue. We also witnessed good growth and profitability as compared to the revenue on year-on-year basis as well as sequentially. We continue to put efforts on adding newer brands and adding partners. These new partnerships will enable us to scale up our business in the more profitable business segments, leading to better return on our capital and at the same time provide better reach to these brands in terms of customers, especially into the Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. We believe the future of work will be a mix of work from office and work from home. This will require new additional investments by the corporates in the areas of remote working and cloud services in order to ensure the business doesn't get impacted in case of disruptions going ahead. We are putting extra efforts in scaling up our cloud business. We are in talks with several brands to bring them on board. We are strengthening our team and, of course, enhancing our reach across all geographies. We are investing in the cloud business by developing a portal for seamless execution for the partners. This, I believe, is going to be the next growth area for Compuage. Let me now give you an overview of our consolidated Q2 FY22 results. Total income for Q2 FY22 stood at 1126 crores as compared to rupees 1090 crores in Q2 FY21, up by 3% year over year. Gross profit for Q2 FY22 stood at rupees 53 crores as compared to rupees 45.2 crores in Q2 FY21, up by 17% year over year. Gross profit margins expanded by 60 basis points year over year to 4.7% in Q2 FY22. EBITDA for Q2 FY22 stood at rupees 29.9 crores as compared to rupees 25.3 crores in Q2 FY21, up by 18% year over year. EBITDA margins expanded by 40 basis points year over year to 2.7% in Q2 FY22. Tax for Q2 FY22 stood at rupees 7.5 crores as compared to rupees 6.8 crores in Q2 FY21, up by 11%. We believe IT products in the long run is going to witness strong and sustainable demand from corporates, employees working from home, students learning from home, and lastly for personal entertainment and use. All these factors collectively will lead to sustainable demand generation across all segments. With this, I now open the floor for questions and answers.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Atul Kothari from Progwell Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. Sir, I have 3-4 questions. My first query is, what kind of EBITDA margins can we expect post 2-3 years?
So we don't really want to get into forecasting. All I can say is we are working towards improving our bottom line. The goal is going to be focused towards bottom line and not the top line. And all the steps and initiatives being taken by us are working towards this objective.
Okay. And sir, do we anticipate any softness in demand as work from home is now reducing and offices have started again?
So what has happened is people have realized the need for IT equipment, IT services, and there will be some softening of demand on the consumer or the home front, but not to the extent it will never go back to the earlier times of lower demand. And that will be more than made up by demand on the commercial segment on the office front. So overall, we expect demand generation to be good and sustainable.
Okay, sir. Sir, do we also provide any services, any cloud services, or are we just dealers for cloud software?
So as we speak, we do not have too much of cloud services because we've just started on this journey about 1.5 years back. So first step is going to be increase the basket. Second is going to be increase the partners that we serve. And along with that, yes, we plan to get into cloud services as well, but everything will be aimed at partners, and through partners, we will support the customers.
Okay. And sir, lastly, sir, you have signed an agreement with MSI. So can you give some color on the business opportunity which lies here?
Yes, that is a very recent tie-up. Since it got announced this morning, that's why I've not included in my coverage today. But MSI is one of the leaders. It's a Taiwan-based company, a leader in laptops, gaming products, and they have several other peripheral PC components as well. And the objective of signing up with them was to increase our product range and, of course, ensure that we work towards growing our bottom line.
Okay, sir. So thanks. That's all from my end. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants who wishes to ask a question may press star and one now. The next question is from the line of Asim Bhade from DAM Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, sir. Sir, couple of questions more to do with the industry side. So firstly, can you just talk about, what are your brand partners saying in terms of supply? Have supplies improved compared to what you were hearing in the recent past, or are more issues expected? And if yes, then when do you think these supply issues will get sorted out?
So there are two challenges on the supply front. One is the challenge of the availability of components, which we know and we've been reading and hearing about it all the time, and they do continue. There are challenges, and nobody is able to predict as to by when things will really start easing out. The lead time of supplies has gone up. Second is, of course, the true supply chain shipments and those kind of challenges, which would be possibly the one that would get resolved earlier. The components part may take a longer time, but our brands, our OEM partners are not able to share the exact details as to by when things will be absolutely streamlined.
But are your brand partners facing any troubles in terms of supplying you? Is there any problem on that side?
There are longer lead times. Some part of it is being addressed with better planning. Wherever we are in a stock and sale model, things are being able to get addressed better because we can forecast better, we can project and plan better. But there are a lot of businesses where it is B2B, they are project-based businesses. Of course, as far as we are concerned, everything is through partners. But there, the order can only be placed once the entire component BOM is available. And there, the impact is a little more because the work can only start once the order is placed.
Okay. So, safe to assume that still there are supply issues and even at your own vendor end, there can be some problems. Partly it can be addressed by your own forecasting needs, but net-net there is still a problem at the vendor side, so it will affect our own revenue generation in the near future.
Two answers to it. Yes, there are the challenges do continue. Now that they've been there for a long time, companies have started addressing better as best possible by them. Easier to address in the stock and sale business, difficult on the back-to-back business. Second is, in terms of impact, I don't think the impact will be much because, it is now set in the system. If there is a lead time of 3 months, it is already being budgeted, it is already being put into planned motion. So I don't think there will be too much of impact on the business moving forward.
But just to follow up on this, there should not be an impact, but there may not be an acceleration in revenue growth as well, right? Because of the long lead time that you just mentioned, because there is still a supply chain issue and we don't know when that really gets sorted out. So maybe it will not slow down, but it will not pick up as well. Is that the right thinking?
It will. You're right to some extent. It's difficult to quantify exactly as we speak because things may just take a turn quickly than anticipated. So I don't think growth may be impacted that much because demand is also on, like for example, in the enterprise business, demand is just beginning to come back again. So
right.
To that extent, it is not only a supply related issue. I think demand picking up, we'll have to see how well the demand is being met. So it's a little difficult to quantify, really speaking.
Sure. So I think that actually brings me to my second question. So see, there is this whole narrative of the larger players being able to secure supplies a little bit better compared to the rest of the industry. So, and by larger players, there are just two in the market, Ingram and Redington. They are, at least Redington, I'm aware that they are also seeing some kind of supply pressure, but it's not to that extent. So in such a market, there's a possibility that, industry consolidation may happen. So I'm not saying that CompuAge will also be a victim of that, but how do we differentiate where we can at least, stay relevant in a market where, demand is high, but supply from the vendors is on the lower side. So the market may also be shifting towards certain brands compared to having a wider choice in terms of brands, How do we differentiate on that side?
So everyone has a well-defined USP, well-defined role. It's not defined by the brand owner, but by virtue of the focused efforts that every distribution company puts in, it gets kind of tagged with that distributor, that this distributor is doing this well, better than the others, and therefore these kind of opportunities should be either they will end up going to that distributor or maybe to some extent nudged into that distribution company so that it gets better addressed. As far as CompuAge is concerned, our biggest strength and the biggest USP is that we've been a very focused distributor for addressing the geolocations and the partners who address the, I would say, MSME space. That is what we are really focusing on. And in that space, when any brand owner needs to accelerate or needs to put in focus or needs to grow that business in those segments, CompuAge is what they look up to because that is our strength, that is our focused area. So I think we've established our niche very well, and it's not that we cannot address the other segments. There are no restrictions per se, but we can't do everything. So we are focusing on what we are good at and create a value proposition for CompuAge and our brands.
Sure. So for CompuAge, the niche, not niche, rather the key market segment focus is more on the MSME side and not on the direct consumer side. Is that correct?
No, sorry. When I said MSME is, I would refer to partners addressing that space, and of course, that is as far as the both consumer and the enterprise space. So we do address both the space. However, our focus is going to be more on the enterprise side moving forward because that is where we can really add more value. Consumer is a very straitjacket big business in where you sell the product and that's it. In the enterprise sales, we have to provide pre-sale support, we have to provide post-sale support. That is where we can differentiate ourselves by providing better support to the partner.
Can we also differentiate by having a portfolio of brands which might be niche in the overall market, but they don't work with any other player? Like MSI, I read your press release. MSI seems like a very exclusive, not exclusive, but rather a more niche side on the laptop, in the laptops market. So can we create a differentiation that way as well by signing up such brands?
We are working towards that. Especially while on wherever there are gaps, we are working on those gaps, number one. Number two, especially on the cloud front, we are working on creating a huge portfolio, and that would be visible. It will take time. That would be visible over next 12 months.
By portfolio, what exactly does that entail? Is it the portal that you're mentioning in your opening remarks?
It will again be selling security software products and services, basically through who are on cloud. And how we are doing currently, we are doing Microsoft on cloud, we are doing Acronis, we are doing CAPS, all these. So we want to ensure we build a much bigger and wider portfolio offering cloud products and services to customers through our partners.
Sure, sir. I have a couple of more questions, but I'll come back in the queue. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aditi Sawant from ADM Advisor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. As a couple of my questions are already answered, I have just one question. Sir, what is your outlook on the company in terms of brand addition in next 1 year?
Very difficult to quantify, Aditi, because while we are working on several brands, but there are various things that come into play. First of all, the vendor or the brand owner should see the opportunity to add a distribution partner. Second is then they kind of go in the marketplace and check out who would be the ideal distributor to fill the gap that is existing. So, all these things come into play. So at any point of time, we are working at anywhere between, in the general space, maybe about 10 to 15 brands. In the cloud space, we are working with maybe 20, 30, 40 brands. So it's difficult to quantify what will get closed at which point of time. But our goal is very clearly to add brands, add partners, and grow the business.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All the best for the upcoming quarters.
Thank you, Aditi.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pankaj Jain from Mahavir Investments. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. Sir, I have a couple of questions. First, can you just explain me how much does the company earn from giving credit assistance to our partners? Like, how much is the interest do we charge to them?
Sorry, I couldn't hear it clearly. Can you please repeat the question?
So if you can explain me how much does the company earn from giving credit assistance to our partners? How much the interest component is that we charge?
Okay. So we do not charge interest by giving credit that is in line with the industry. The credit that we extend to the partners depends upon product category, and it ranges from anywhere between 30 to 90 days. But we do charge interest on delayed payment basis, which would be in the region of about 18% per annum.
Okay, post the credit period is expired.
Yes. If there is a delayed payment, then we do charge for that.
Okay. Sir, my second question is, what is the company's current cost of debt?
The company's current cost of debt would be in the region of about 10 to 11%.
Okay. And sir, what would be a debt equity ratio you would target 2 years from now, and any plans of capital raise or something?
Yes, capital raise is something that we want to work on. We've not formed up the plans, but that's something which is work in process. And of course, there is no target ratio, but moving forward, we want to make sure that there is a balance and improvement in our ratio by ensuring the growth also happens by infusion of funds by way of equity apart from debt.
Sure. Got it. Thanks a lot. I'll come back in with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Priyanka Shah from NM Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, I have few questions. Sir, can you give us a rough revenue contribution from each business segment for quarter 2?
So I can share that with you for our H1 business. If I were to look at, we have 4 business divisions that we break up the revenue for: consumer, enterprise, cloud, and the smallest being the hardware services, which is not a revenue, which is more of services that we provide to some of the brands. So the approximate revenue split is on the consumer side, it is about 54%. On the enterprise, it is 38%. On the cloud, it is 8%. And then services is less than 1%.
Okay. Thank you, sir. One more question. What is your outlook on scaling up of hardware services verticals?
The scaling up potential is quite good. I think we've completed the first phase of building up infrastructure, team, expertise, etc. Now we've moved into the second stage of bringing brands on board. Just pre-COVID, we signed up with HP, which is a big brand. Unfortunately, the COVID period made it difficult for us to scale up that business in the last 18 months with restrictions all over for people to travel, etc. But now that is behind us, we will use that scaling up. So it's it's a combination of brands coming on board, team getting strengthened, providing more services and building up revenue. So the potential is very good.
Okay, so last question from my end. What is company's current working capital cycle? So can you give us the breakup in terms of inventory, debtors, and creditors days?
Sure. The cycle is, the net working capital cycle is, the receivables is at about 55 days. The inventory is at about 35 days, 30 to 35 days, which comes to makes it a total of 85 to 90 days. We have about 25 days of creditors, payables, and the net working capital cycle comes to about 60 to 65 days.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. It was very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Reminder to the participants, to ask a question, please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Asim Bharde from DAM Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Just continuing on the working capital question, these inventory days, are they at an optimal level already, or is it possible that we can bring it down further from these levels?
There is always room for improvement, but they're close to, I would say, optimum. I think there is a room to improve by maybe about max of 7 days.
And how would that work out? Would it be, I mean, do your brand partners have more production facilities in India, so you don't have to procure more than what it would be necessary?
Very few manufacturing happens. Very few brands have manufacturing in India. So, but of course, our inventory kicks in from the day it comes into our warehouse. So
Right.
even if there's a longer lead time, we need to plan and stock better on the consumer front. So how we will be able to improve upon this basis as our enterprise business increases, where a lot of it is B2B, back to back. So then our stocking days will be lower. So that's how we plan to improve it.
I don't follow. How does this work exactly? I didn't understand.
Okay. Let me elaborate. The consumer part of business is pure stock and sale. So we
Sure.
need to carry inventory, and we end up carrying inventory upwards of 30 days. The enterprise part of the business has two facets to it. One part is stock and sale. The other part is back to back, the project business, where it's against a specific bomb creation that we place back to back order.
Okay.
That business, once we increase our B2B business, the project business, where the inventory cycles in our warehouses are lower, that will help us bring down that business. Third, moving forward, we also plan to grow our cloud offerings, which is again a pure back to back and no inventory. So the moment we increase our enterprise project business and we increase our cloud business, our inventory cycles will reduce.
Okay, so this in enterprise, when you say back to back, is it like you partly service a particular client, they release money, and then you continue servicing part of the contract? That's how you maintain your working capital days?
No, when I say what happens is, while we carry all fast-moving SKUs with us, but let's say there is a large project being required at either one of the banks or one of the large enterprises or one of the government organizations level, there are a lot of that project would, in a project like an active networking product line like Cisco, or a passive networking product line like Comscope, or a UPS like Vertiv, they may have a specific requirement which normally in sync with the policies of the brand and us, we do not carry it with us, number one. Number two, sometimes they also get special prices for a large project. So therefore, that becomes a back-to-back project. It is ordered at one go. We get the material either in parts or at one go. And therefore, what I mean is it's back-to-back, so we do not have to carry stocks. We receive the stocks. Sometimes there is a holding period, but by and large, we receive the stocks and we invoice out to our partner who would invoice out to the end customer. So that is what I mean by back-to-back business. I hope I have been able to clarify that.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, I think that this actually helps. Fine, got it. And the other thing I think was on capital raise. I think you've been talking about capital raise for a while now, but I don't think anything has materialized. But what exactly do you plan to use this capital for? Would it be more working capital existing business, or do you plan some M&A as well?
It's only for working capital of the existing business. I would put it as growth capital, so that we have a balanced growth between equity and debt. That's the only reason. We have no plans at this point of time for M&A.
Got it. And just one final question. I think so earlier participant asked about EBITDA margin target, and which you didn't want to put a number. But is there any ROC target or maybe like a range of ROC which you aspire for in the next 4 to 5 years, which possibly you might achieve by if cloud scales up or hardware services scales up? Is there any number or a range that you're working on?
We are not able to quantify because I would say the Compuage's business is going through a transition, and that transition was impacted by the COVID situation. And therefore, when I say we are transiting, while we are not exiting any businesses, but we want to put emphasis on enterprise. We want to put extra emphasis on cloud services, and third, of course, the hardware services, which is a low working capital business. So we are, and when a business, especially the cloud business, which is still in the very nascent stage in India, it is difficult to quantify what will be the gross margins, what will be the EBITDA, what will be the working capital cycle. That will stabilize once the business comes to a particular level. So therefore, we are finding it very, very difficult to put a particular number because we want to determine what are the percentages of business that's going to be possible, what are the working capital cycles and working capital deployment in each of the businesses, and therefore the corresponding return. So maybe we'll be able to address this question better in about, I would say, 6 to 12 months' time.
Safe to assume that it should be on an increasing trajectory, right? Because these businesses would be higher margin and maybe not as bad on working capital. They would entail working capital, but may still be the same or maybe lower. I'm not sure. So I agree with your point that we are still in a transition phase, but safe to assume that your current ROC levels would not be the same once these businesses have come into the overall picture.
So when the businesses are small, the investments are greater. For example, in our cloud business today, our investments are far greater in terms of deployment of people, etc. While margins are better, but the ROI becomes quite low considering all the efforts. So until the business reaches a particular level of volume, that the higher ROI doesn't kick in, number one. Number two, as businesses mature, the gross margins also start coming down. That is the reason, we are already seeing that in to some extent. So that is what is making it a little difficult to quantify.
Just help me understand, why should gross margins come down if the business matures?
I think that law possibly would prevail in any industry, any business, because as volumes go up,
higher competition.
In quest for growth, each brand, when they compete with the other brand, they also kind of push the distribution partner and the system integration partners to start operating at lower margins, and that's basically a competing nature between the brands and the distributors that make it happen.
Understood. But safe to assume that during that level, I think the volumes will be much higher. So maybe a percentage margin should come off. At the return on investment level, it should not impact.
Absolutely.
Okay, sir.
It will definitely not impact. On the contrary, it will. Once volumes kick in, then all the economies make sense, and it would contribute to a better net margin.
Sure, sir. I get your point that let things settle down and then maybe we can revisit it. Okay, I will ask this question again 12 months from today, but wish you guys all the very best for the future.
Thank you so much, and look forward to you joining the call after 12 months too.
Much before that, but sure. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question now. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Atul Mehta for closing comments.
Thank you everyone for joining the call. I hope I've been able to answer most of your queries. In case of any queries that you may have in future, you may kindly contact SGA, our investor relations partners. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you. On behalf of Compuage Incoform Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your